Melissa Garcia, I'm with Strategic Marketing Services. Strategic's been around for about 5 years. We offer marketing services all throughout Lake and Porter County. But I've been in marketing for about 25 years. I teach at Purdue Cal. I also teach at Keller Graduate School, which is the graduate school for DeVry over in Maryville, and sometimes over in Tinley Park. I teach as well, so there are a couple people who have been my students in the past, so I apologize if this is redundant for a couple people. But we all have something a little bit different to bring to the table today and to talk to you about. What I'm going to present right now is really the starting point and where you should start with planning. So a lot of people go, oh, you know, the planning part, but you know what, you really have to do this, and Jim and I were talking, it's probably not because I'm speaking about it, but it's probably the most important part of your social media, and the one step that no matter how big the company is, everybody skips it. You know, they just jump right into posting on Facebook and, you know, jump right in there, and then some companies have to actually go back and start from scratch and undo damage occasionally. So skip past these. I gave you a little bit of background about me, so I'm not going to go into it. I do work with B2B companies, so business to business, some business to consumer in the area. Oh, am I standing in front of it? Thank you. Sorry. I know, right? I don't usually teach with the PowerPoint, so Purdue Cal frowns on it, right? Monica knows. So, the getting into, you know, social media is really kind of big. So if I stand right here, is that good? Okay, we should have practiced this part, right? Mm-hmm. So getting into social media for your company is more than just posting on Facebook and posting on LinkedIn, and I'm sure that's why you're all here, because you know what, it changes every day. I say that I teach so that I can keep up with social media, and that's really the honest to God truth, because my students teach me just as much, because everything changes on a daily basis. And what I do in my business is synthesize it for businesses so that we can make it applicable and make sure that it's working for businesses. And you can choose wisely. You can kind of root through what makes sense for you as a business and what doesn't make sense for you. So what I'm going to go through is a couple of steps that you can take in, and that you need to take in starting a social media campaign for your company. And this is whether you are a company that's just starting out and you're one person and you're going to be doing it yourself, or you're a large corporation. I use this with all size companies. The first part is, and you have no idea how many times, even when I did this for myself, the first question to ask yourself is, who are you talking to? So who are you trying to reach? Who is your target market? And this is not anybody who would buy your product or service. This is your perfect customer. Who are you getting, you know, 80% of your business from? Who are those people? And describe the perfect customer in terms of how you would describe a person. Is a person female or male? What ages are, what age range are they from? What demographics? Where do they live? What's the geography? How do they shop? What kind of lifestyles do they have? Describe them like you would describe a friend. Because the person's habits that you are going to target are going to definitely play into your social media choices, right? So you're going to want to make sure that you have the right target market in mind. It's going to make the difference for all of the choices that you make that go down the line with your social media. Brand review is a very important step, because a lot of companies skip this too, especially when you're just starting out or you're a newer company. For those of you who haven't done one, it can simply be, what is your brand? Going through, I actually have, and as part of this, we have some handouts that we'll send you all. I have a branding sheet that will help you go through, who are you? What is your unique selling position? How do you differ from your competitors? If those of you who have not done a SWOT analysis, what are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? Who are your competitors? This really helps you to shape, again, okay, who am I going after, but who am I? What does my company stand for? What are we selling? What's our message? What are we trying to get across? All of that is going to be very important. What I do is once we develop this, we actually, and I have the tool that I'll send to everybody. It goes through a series of 25 questions to ask yourself that can help you solidify that picture. When you're done with that, you will basically have a foundation that will help you in all of your social media and actually all of your branding, because it helps you with who are we, what are we trying to communicate to people, what are we trying to get across. We're going to get into details as far as like search engine optimization and organic search, SEO versus paid for SEO and all those things. But this stuff is the kind of stuff that if you don't do this to start, all of those little details are not going to matter, because you're not going to know how to make them fit your company. So make sure that you have that completed before you start this process, so that you can be consistent across all of your branding, whether you're advertising, whether you're putting something into you're sponsoring one of the chamber's events, whether you're on social media. One of the things I tell people, the research, which it hasn't changed much in years, actually it's getting worse, a little worse, but our attention spans are so bad now because we're so inundated, right? It takes 11 impressions for you to see something that you don't know, like a new brand or 11 times before you will be able to recall it. And the numbers are actually getting worse, so because we're so inundated. So if you're a company that only does social media, or we only do Facebook, or we only advertise, or you're going to miss the mark, because it's just too much. With things coming from us at all directions, you're going to think about how much it costs. For those of you who know, anybody guess how much a full page ad is in the Times these days? Yeah. All my marketing people know.
A couple thousand?
Oh.
Higher. 2,500?
You want to tell them?
How big is this ad?
Yeah, a full page ad.
Times that by 5 and then keep going.
10,000.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're usually upwards of $11,000 to $15,000 for a full page ad.
It's a Monday.
So, yeah, on a Monday. On a Monday, not a Saturday. Some of the publications even that, go around, so that kind of helps actually. That probably helped us in the chamber when we do $300 ads, right? Everybody's like, that's cheap. But it's the mix, right? So it's, having people see your name in several different formats, in several different ways, in several different vehicles, that will help them to recall, not only just recall your brand, and that, by the way, those statistics are just for you recognizing their logo, not for knowing what they do. So that's the second stage of branding, and that costs more money, right? So, it takes a lot. So social media is one of the most effective avenues, because how many times do you see, posts and, everybody's online and you've got your phones. By the way, did we tell everybody, anybody who wants, as we start to do some examples, hotspot is the password if you have a phone for the Wi-Fi here, if you want to get directly on any of these sites as we're doing them. So again, the tool that I'm going to give you kind of goes through your competitive advantage. What do you do differently than your competitors? This one is hard for a lot of people. It takes a lot to, you have to go out and research, first of all, what do your competitors do? How do you do it differently? And going through some of your social media goals. Only then can you start to, develop your tactics. Okay, what are we going to use? How are we going to use it? All that planning. We'll go ahead and send out that planning form to you that will help you in, that stage. So the second is to actually build it, and this is difficult for a lot of people. I'm going to show you a couple examples, because this is kind of the nitty-gritty. So how many of you actually opened up the social media channels for your company, meaning you started the Facebook page or you started the LinkedIn page? Or okay, how many of you looked at it sideways and went, wait, am I doing this right, or am I opening up the right page, or is it right? Even the marketing, I've done it. I'm like, what, where am I at? Let me look at a couple of things. In analyzing the channels, you're going to want to make sure that you're choosing the right things for yourself. So for instance, if you're a company that is, business to business oriented, where is that? Thank you. Oh, thank you. So if you're a company that's business to business oriented, LinkedIn, you know, and obviously there's more questions, but it's okay. LinkedIn is probably going to be, you know, that's more business to business professional, but a lot of people don't realize there's a couple different ways. You have your personal page on LinkedIn, which I'll show you here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, sorry.
Did I do something wrong too?
It's okay. There we go. There we go. There we go.
Perfect. Get on LinkedIn. So, on LinkedIn. Okay, so, can you guys see? Am I standing in the way of it? Okay. So, this is my friend Bill, so he doesn't know I'm using him, but he'll be fine with it. My friend Bill works for a construction company, and this is his personal LinkedIn profile. Okay, it has his picture, now as a director of business development, he does a lot of the same posts as the company does, so that's fine. This is not a business page though. If you have, you know, something with your personal picture and what you do is once you're part of a company, and this is important for LinkedIn, you have to have a company email address, not a Yahoo, not a Gmail, it has to be I'm strategic marketing, so at smsb2b.com, or it has to be a business sponsored name. Once you do that, you open up a business page, and if you go into, he's in charge of his, so if you go into interests and companies, this is what, I'm not going to teach you how to open one, but this is what a business page looks like for LinkedIn. Okay, this is a business page that can actually have followers. You see the company logo up here, you see an image here, and you see all their updates. It's very similar to a Facebook. And you know the regular LinkedIn doesn't look like this, right? So you want to make sure, but the key thing in here is that you can do posts that people can follow and that you can analyze. See, so you can see what you're doing here and see about the return on investment you're getting. How many impressions are you getting? That means how many eyes are you getting on the page? How many people are actually doing something? They're clicking through. This is more important. And when you talk about Facebook too, everybody goes, oh, I got 500 likes. That's great. But if you got 2 shares, that's more important than the likes, because that interaction is going to get you exponentially in front of all of those other people that have shared. Like if I have 500 people on my Facebook page and my friend Janine has 800 people on her Facebook page and she shares it, then her 800 people see it. So those shares are what you really want to go for. So be thinking about that. Interactions, how many people are actually commenting, those are just as important, again, more important than the likes. And engagement, how many people are actually writing something back to you and engaging in a conversation. Those are the things you're going for on social media, not necessarily just the likes and impressions. Okay, so you're going to want to be very specific when you're looking at analyzing your channels and analyzing Facebook. I'm going to show you. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go to my Facebook, and then I'll have you do this. On Facebook, I'll show you kind of the same thing. So this is my page. Oops. So this is my personal page. So everybody knows what their personal page looks like, right? You have people that you have to have. You have to accept somebody as a friend, right? If you're accepting people as friends on your Facebook page for your business, it's not a business page, okay? So a business page looks more like this. And you have to, here I'll show you Andorra Banquets. Everybody knows Andorra. If your Facebook page doesn't have a header like this, that's more like an advertisement instead of a picture, you're losing space there. So if you don't have one of those, probably your niece or nephew can build you one. But, as marketing people, obviously we'll help you with that. But, the professional sites have, banners, and they use the space well. They use them, for advertising. So, something you want to think about for yours. Logos and, pictures of if you have a facility that is going to be easier for people to locate if they know what it looks like, make sure those are up on your site. Okay, so this Facebook page has likes, right? So you get likes and shares and a number of different things here, okay? So there's so much more to go into, and some of my colleagues are going to go into more of the details of this, but I just want to make sure that you're setting up your pages correctly, okay? Let's see. So, go back into here. Okay, so a couple of things about social media, some tips for you. People always ask me, you know, when do I post? How do I post? You know, what kind of things do I do? Here's what I tell people. Most businesses and most of the, companies that you're with, depending on what you do, if you're a restaurant that has a soup of the day, maybe you can post every day. Most people don't want to hear from businesses more than 2 or 3 times a week, you know, so if you have that much more to say, then maybe you do, but the average is 2 to 3 times a week that people won't start to opt out and not follow you, okay? So mix it up, you know, make sure I tell people all the time, don't have it be about your company, your company, your company, your company. I'm sure you guys are doing things socially. You're here tonight learning about social media. Talk about, you know, that. Hey, I took our executives took a social media class tonight, you know. Whatever you're doing, you do things with the chamber. There are some times when you might not even be sponsoring a chamber event, but it might be something that's near and dear to your heart. Share it, you know, share it from the chamber if you're looking for, community-based things to post about. You know, people want to know the people in your organization. They want to see a face behind it. Talk about your employees, you know, talk about your employees' accomplishments, who graduated, who, you know, got a degree, who ran a marathon, did, you know, a walk, whatever the case may be. So make sure you mix that up. Best times are going to vary depending on your business, but you're going to want to make sure that, you know, think about who your target is. You're going to want to try a bunch of different things at the beginning, but think about yourself, what you do too. When do you check your Facebook? In the morning, right? And when you get up, sometimes people, the highest numbers show in the morning before people go to work, right when they get to work and, you know, they're logging in and checking things out, on their lunch hours, right before they go home, especially on LinkedIn, and in between 7 and 10 p.m. You know, because people are surfing. And just think about your own habits, right? Try those times first, but then play with them and see what's best, because everybody's clients are going to be different, okay? Couple more things here and then I'll wrap it up. Community time is really important. People ask me all the time, how do I get more people to follow me? You know what? Go out and like you're going to share business cards with each other. Go out and like each other's pages. Most of the time you're going to get a reciprocal like for that, or somebody following you reciprocally. Like the businesses in your area. Like your customers' pages. That's a big one, you know, because then you get on their radar a little bit more. And most of the time, you know, sometimes you don't, but most of the time you're going to get a reciprocal like back. So you can start building your pages. Every chamber event, I, collect business cards, and I try to do 5 more, for my page that I like, and hopefully I get, that many back. And that's all part of building relationships and encouraging interaction. Encourage people to talk and collaborate. If you're going to do that, make sure you're watching the posts, okay? Because once in a while you get a disgruntled person. We have a couple people who are going to talk about how to handle that in a minute here. So, and then the last thing is kind of, we talked about likes versus share and reviewing your posts. Make sure that you're looking. There's one spot I'm going to show you on Facebook. Almost all of the social media channels have an analytics site. So you're going to want to look at your posts, like I showed you on LinkedIn. Make sure you're looking at these. And after you do your post, because it's going to tell you, I did the same post 2 days in a row at different times, and one of them did twice as well. There's nothing different about it. So I know the one that did twice as well, just the time was different. So I'm going to adjust the time, because that's when my followers are paying more attention. So make sure that you watch your analytics. So I don't know if are we answering questions as we go, or are we going to answer them afterwards?
I think it's probably best if we take a couple and then we'll get to the
Sure.
next. So that way we have time for everybody to get through.
Sure.
On Facebook, you actually had some analytics on the side. Is that because the Facebook page was like the business owner page and you have access to that and that's not for public viewing?
Absolutely. So let's see. Was it down?
Right on the side, on the right-hand side, this
The
week.
post engagement, yeah. So all of this, when you log in and you're the administrator, all of this is available to you, but nobody else sees it, correct? So you get to see, you know, what your post reach this week was, the engagement, how many people are, you know, writing a response, you know, sharing it, doing something other than just liking it or looking at it, how many people clicked on your call button. You know, things like that. And there's actually an analytics section in Facebook that you can get to. I'm not in the right screen, but I'll show it to you afterwards, where you can see every single post and how well it did, just like you can in LinkedIn. All of them have an analytics section, so. And if it doesn't, again, you built a company site on a personal page, on a platform. And you know what? You know why I know? Because I've done it myself. So when I first started this, I went, undo. You know, we're going to try this now. We wanted to try that first, but you know. So anybody else have any questions?
How do you feel about Twitter? Twitter for business.
Twitter for business. It depends on what kind of business it is, and I'm sure everybody can weigh in here. If you have the kind of business where people would want to hear from you multiple times a day, and you have something to say, then, you know, and you're getting results from it, then it's great. Most of my business-to-business clients, it's not at the top of their list. You know, LinkedIn, Facebook, Google Plus. Google Plus is one that's underutilized right now. I'll tell you, if you take one thing away from this, go back to your office and help create a Google Plus page for your business. Because Google gives preferential treatment in search engine rankings to companies that have Google Plus pages. If for no other reason, it's much like Facebook. You know, it has a little bit of difference, but
What about Google My Business? Because now they're saying, because I just made a Google My Business page for Tumble Bear and Face, or for both her companies a couple weeks ago. Is that, now what I was told, I made them right away because they said for search engine reasons, and I added photos, contacted, everything. They told me, now I don't know if this is true or not, that was kind of replacing Google Plus. They were gonna try to,
they're trying to, yeah.
Google Plus, called Google My Business. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those, here's what I tell people a lot too, with a lot of like, you know, Snapchat and things that are coming out are said to replace things.
I'm trying to figure that one out.
I know, right? Yeah, me too. Actually, I think I did, and I'm sorry I did, but there are.
That's
You tried the.
You're sorry you did.
Yeah, right.
Tried the faces yet?
Yeah, I know. That's
It's a
cute.
little
That's
scary.
kind of funny, but yeah.
Yeah,
there's-
faces on Snapchat.
there are a couple of reasons I think Snapchat was created that I found out that's
Yeah.
why.
Oh, yeah.
We know that reason. We're not
Yeah,
gonna-
right.
So I just didn't know if you knew anything back to Google My Business, like
Yeah.
if that was true that it was, I heard that from one person, I didn't know.
Here's what I tell people, my colleagues can jump in. When stuff like that comes out, I tell my businesses the best thing to do is kind of sit back and wait and see what comes of it and what's proven and disproven, because,
Okay.
you know, and see what, you know, when LinkedIn and Facebook first came out, and there were a lot of businesses that even a year ago said, you know what, Facebook is not appropriate for me. But, you know, it's, now we've learned how to, you know, harness Facebook for business. So now it is. So a year ago, you know, it might be, and I've heard the same thing.
I just was wondering, because I didn't know.
The stats are real low on Google My Business so far.
Okay, it's
So-
so new though.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
But that's the plan. So,
Okay.
and it's easier to use than Google Plus.
Yes, Google Plus
So,
is hard.
yeah.
Yeah, and just keep in mind, and this is something I actually just learned yesterday, that Google changes how you're found 500 times a year. So that's like every 18 hours.
Wow.
So from a web standpoint, when people are searching for you, I'm not a web developer, but I work with web developers, and they're constantly trying to figure out, and they don't tell you, So it changes, but Google doesn't send you notification every 18 hours and say, all right, here's what's changed. So people try to work with Google. You hear about people that are certified with Google. That's because they work closely with Google to try and understand what they're trying to do, what the developers are doing.
Right.
So if Google does, if you get an email from them or you hear buzz stuff that's related to Google, I would pay pretty close attention to that just because it changes so rapidly. And if you wait, you might be, and this is a little not as related maybe to Google My Business, but just if you wait to do other things, you might be behind multiple strategies being found.
Yeah, and I will add this, we actually are a certified Google partner, and Google My Business, if you have not taken advantage of it yet, you need to register, because there are so many people that have pages that maybe you don't have a page, let's just say, but a customer created it for you. So there is a brand out there with your name on it that's not claimed.
Right.
Google My Business was put together as a management tool to manage your business. And you can go in there and you can optimize it for SEO, you can change it for graphics, and it's really going to be able to help give you the control of how you come up when someone searches you. So I definitely, we've done a lot.
And you know what, I realize what Jim is saying too might sound scary, some of the terms and things like that. And it's like, oh God, how do I do that? How do I see that? How do I look at that? A lot of what we do is whether you're gonna do your social media internally or externally and hire a company, you can very cost effectively hire someone, especially in this area, to come in and teach you what you need to do, how to do it, to set it up for you, and to let you do it. If you have someone internally that you want trained, whether it's yourself or somebody else, to do it. So we're not all advocates of, okay, we have to come in and do this for you every day. We can help you learn how to do it. And when I said sit back and watch, I didn't mean like wait until, snow grows on you. I just meant, sometimes you have to, when you hear these things, and you're not sure, it's better to, do a little research and see what's going on with your company and see how it fits in, than to just jump out there and start putting things out there, because sometimes you can actually hurt your brand. So,
Yes.
thank you guys for your
Yes.